Tattoo artists. What was your worst mistake and how did the client react? When I was but a wee baby piercer, I worked at the biggest shop in my city which had 14 artists and 2 piercers. It was the peak of the tramp stamp trend. I'm still so sad that was the nickname. Ass antlers was so much better. So when a super tiny 18-year-old black woman came in and wanted her name on her lower back with a flower, it was just normal. An older white male tattoo artist took her to pick a font. It took a minute, even though back then everyone went with Edwardian, but they came out. I had her do paperwork and he got the drawing finished. She okayed the design, she okayed the stencil, she sat for the tattoo, loved it, tipped him and left. 2 hours later she called back sobbing, saying we ruined her life. The counter girl told her to come in and we would fix whatever was wrong. Tattoo lady comes back with her 2 gigantic angry AF friends who are ready to freak out. We finally see the tattoo. Her name was Whitney. The N got left out in the font process. So huge across her lower back it said Whitey. It was covered for free and with many apologies with 3 giant purple roses. The tattoo artist was so fucked up over that he didn't come in for a week. It was an honest mistake, but it was the worst fucking spelling error I've seen. So I didn't mess up, but I had a client scare me. I was tattooing his sister's name on him. She passed away. Gabriella with 1 L in it. Past a point of no return, he asks me. There's 2 L's, right? I think I had a heart attack and he started laughing. He thought it was hilarious, I died a little. And pretended to laugh. I worked at a tattoo place when a guy came in for a full back piece of 3 different cars. It took like 4 visits to finish. And each visit he'd look at it and say, "It looks awesome," and then he would take off. On the last visit, they call me in to look at it to show me how awesome it turned out. Well, all the steering wheels were on the wrong side, and the reason no one caught it was because the dude was looking in a mirror to check his progress, so they looked correct. I'm pretty sure the guy was super chill about it when they offered a bunch of free work and they fixed it in another session. I was a receptionist at a tattoo shop. One of the artists misspelled neighborhood on this guy's neck. He spelled it neighborhood, leaving out the first H. Neighborhood was the guy's nickname. It was a pretty large, elaborate tattoo, so there was no fixing it. I don't think I have ever cringed so hard in my life. The guy was surprisingly really cool about it. He did see the drawing and approved it before it was tattooed on. He ended up making the artist tattoo an H on his palm, so if anyone gave him shit about the misspelling, he could smack that person with the missing H. I had a client email me asking for a 4-letter acronym. I don't do a freehand script, so I put the letters into a font generator and sent him some options. He picked the one he liked best, and we set an appointment date. On the day of his session, I showed him the acronym again, and we chose a size. I placed a stencil, he approved it, and I got started. Midway through the tattoo, I asked him what the letters stood for, and he told me. My heart stopped. Since the letters were in the wrong order, and the middle 2 were swapped. I ran to the shop computer to check my email, and sure enough, in his original email he'd sent me, they'd been correct. I had typed them into the font generator wrong. But to be fair, he had seen them several times since then and didn't notice my mistake. I spent the rest of the session covering them up with another design he'd had as a backup tattoo idea, and I didn't charge him. But it was a good learning experience for me. I always ask what initials or acronyms stand for ahead of time to make sure I get them in the right order. I tattooed Philippines 413 instead of Philippians 413 on a girl one time. Fortunately, I was able to fix it though. I was doing a big ol' tattoo of Cringer aka Battlecat on a cool client's leg. I got so into doing this big awesome tiger head that I forgot that it wasn't a goddamn tiger and colored the stripes black. I realized about a third of the way through filling them in and let the guy know. He was disappointed but mostly okay with it. I felt like I was going to puke. I finished the thing feeling so fucking sick and then refused payment. Man, going from that feeling of elation to immediate crushing disappointment was hard to shake and kind of dazed me. It was extra crushing because it was a fun tattoo during a time when I wasn't that busy and was doing mostly absolute dreck. The payment was just the icing on the top, so letting that go was hard too. Just thinking about it now is making me feel sick. Misspelled the name Jamie, Jame. I asked the client for the spelling and showed the client the laid out script before it was applied. So not my fault. The client was very disgusted with himself for not knowing how to spell the name of the woman he loved enough to show it on his skin for life. I felt sorry for the guy, so I offered him a cover-up at an incredible discount, as well as the name reapplied spelled correctly. Unfortunately, he never took me up on that offer. Did my first one on an old schoolmate who was aware of my artistic abilities despite having never applied ink before, and he offered me his back. I had 3 pros watching as I drew a geisha freehanded on his back while he was hunched over. When the design was laid out, he checked it in the mirror and was good with it, so I began lining it. The thing is, the other artist said it looked great, but unfortunately I was doing something else when he checked it, so I didn't notice just how screwed up it was. Anyway, I lined it and we took a break. As he stood up while I was watching, my heart dropped as I witnessed the geisha's face droop into a palsied state on one side. He was sitting leaned forward with his elbows on his knees while drawing it and so distorted the canvas. Now, this sounds shitty, but I never really liked this guy too much. He originally wanted a back full of strippers, so I didn't feel bad. When he went to look in the mirror, he lifted his shoulder to look at the tattoo, which normalized the proportions, and he said it looked awesome. Well, good then. Big lesson learned though. I still have the occasional nightmare over it. Thanks for watching Opinion on Reddit. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell icon. Are you a tattoo artist? Share with us your worst mistake and how the client reacted in the comments section down below.